Very good morning, students. Today, in this lecture, we are going to start with the concept leverage. Okay, what is leverage in financial management? Before starting the concept that what is leverage exactly in financial management, I would like to show you one video. Okay, just look at the video.
A famous ancient Greek once said, "Give me a place to stand, and I shall move the earth." But this wasn't some wizard claiming to perform impossible feats. It was the mathematician Archimedes describing the fundamental principle behind the lever. The idea of a person moving such a huge mass on their own might sound like magic, but chances are you've seen it in your everyday life. One of the best examples is something you might recognize from a childhood playground: a teeter-totter, or seesaw. Let's say you and a friend decide to hop on. If you both weigh about the same, you can totter back and forth pretty easily. But what happens if your friend weighs more? Suddenly, you're stuck up in the air. Fortunately, you probably know what to do. Just move back on the seesaw, and down you go. This may seem simple and intuitive, but what you're actually doing is using a lever to lift a weight that would otherwise be too heavy. This lever is one type of what we call simple machines, basic devices that reduce the amount of energy required for a task by cleverly applying the basic laws of physics. Let's take a look at how it works. Every lever consists of three main components: the effort arm, the resistance arm, and the fulcrum. In this case, your weight is the effort force, while your friend's weight provides the resistance force. What Archimedes learned was that there is an important relationship between the magnitudes of these forces and their distances from the fulcrum. The lever is balanced when the product of the effort force and the length of the effort arm equals the product of the resistance force and the length of the resistance arm. This relies on one of the basic laws of physics, which states that work measured in joules is equal to force applied over a distance. A lever can't reduce the amount of work needed to lift something, but it does give you a trade-off. Increase the distance, and you can apply less force. Rather than trying to lift an object directly, the lever makes the job easier by dispersing its weight across the entire length of the effort and resistance arms. So if your friend weighs twice as much as you, you'd need to sit twice as far from the center as him in order to lift him. By the same token, his little sister, whose weight is only a quarter of yours, could lift you by sitting 4 times as far as you. Seesaws may be fun, but the implications and possible uses of levers get much more impressive than that. With a big enough lever, you can lift some pretty heavy things. A person weighing 150 pounds, or 68 kilograms, could use a lever just 3.7 meters long to balance a smart car, or a 10-meter lever to lift a 2.5-ton stone block, like the ones used to build the pyramids. If you wanted to lift the Eiffel Tower, your lever would have to be a bit longer, about 40.6 kilometers. And what about Archimedes' famous boast? Sure, it's hypothetically possible. The Earth weighs 6 times 10 to the 24th power kilograms, and the Moon, that's about 384,400 kilometers away, would make a great fulcrum. So all you need to lift the Earth is a lever with a length of about a quadrillion light years, 1.5 billion times the distance to the Andromeda Galaxy, and of course a place to stand so you can use it. So for such a simple machine, the lever is capable of some pretty amazing things. And the basic elements of levers and other simple machines are found all around us in the various instruments and tools that we and even some other animals use to increase our chances of survival, or just make our lives easier. After all, it's the mathematical principles behind these devices that make the world go round.
Yes. With the help of this video, you all must be clear with the basic term what is leverage. Okay. You all must have got the idea what exactly leverage means. It was the term which was came from physics. Okay. But in financial management, leverage means what? Leverage means the debt proportion in our capital structure. In short or in simple words, leverage word is used to see the proportion of debt in our capital structure. We will see this. Just look at the image. Leverage in finance means lever is lifting, okay, is increasing. Lever is used to increase the earnings of the firm or the organization, okay, and in that we have to incur fixed cost funds. If we want to start a business, we have to invest, we have to raise funds, we have to invest in fixed assets, we have to start a business, we have to purchase fixed assets, equipments, land and everything, and then we will start a business. Okay, so leverage in finance is just the investment in the fixed funds or the fixed cost to increase the earnings or the returns for the shareholders, for the organization or of the firm. Okay, what is leverage? The word leverage, borrowed from physics, okay, is frequently used in financial management. The word leverage has come from the physics and it is frequently used in the financial management subject. In finance, what is leverage? Leverage is a strategy that companies use to increase assets. Companies use the term leverage as a strategy, okay, so that we can increase our returns, we can increase our cash flows, okay, we can increase the investment in fixed assets, though it is also a, we can say, it may be profitable or it may be loss making also. Sometimes we can generate profit, we can get returns, and sometimes we may be in loss. In short, the term leverage is used to describe the ability of a firm to use fixed cost assets or the funds to increase the return to its equity shareholders. We are investing in fixed cost, we are raising funds to invest in fixed cost so that we can increase the profits or the returns of the firm, and directly or indirectly we can give more and more profits to the equity shareholders. So leverage is used to increase the returns for the shareholders, that is equity shareholders. Okay. In other words, leverage is the employment of fixed assets or funds for which a firm has to meet fixed cost or the fixed rate of interest obligations irrespective of the level of activities attained or the level of operating profit earned. See, leverage is the part which is came while investing in the fixed cost. What is fixed cost? Fixed cost is that cost which we have to pay irrespective of the profit earned by the company. Whether the firm or the organization is in profit or not, the firm has to pay to its debenture holders the interest for the loan. Again, the bank, we have to pay interest to the bank for the loan taken. Okay, so we have to pay, we have to incur the fixed cost irrespective of earnings of the firm. The firm has to pay in anyhow. Okay, whether the firm is earning or generating profits or not, but the firm has to pay. But on the other hand, it is also well said that high risk, high return. Okay, so if we are taking more risk by increasing the leverage in a firm, there are more chances to get more returns also. So this is the basic concept of leverage. I would like to tell you one simple income statement which we have already discussed in our previous sessions. Okay, so I will tell you just in uh, first, sales minus variable cost is equals to contribution. Okay, after contribution, if we deduct fixed cost from the contribution, we will get EBIT, that is earning before interest and tax. And after EBIT, if we deduct interest from EBIT, we will get EBT, that is earning before tax. And after EBT, if we deduct tax from EBT, we will get profit after tax, that is PAT. This is the income statement. Okay, in that, first was sales minus variable cost is equals to contribution, and from contribution we are going to deduct fixed cost. So fixed cost is related to what? The investment in equipments, the investment in fixed assets. The fixed nature of costing comes under the fixed cost, which we have to pay in anyhow. Okay, that comes under fixed cost. And after that, we have to deduct the interest from the EBIT. We have to deduct the interest. Now, what is interest? Interest is the cost which we have to pay for raising the funds with the help of debentures. If we are raising the funds for an organization with the help of debentures, that means we are issuing debentures and raising the funds. Okay, so if we are raising the funds with the help of debentures, we have to pay a fixed rate of interest to the debenture holders, right? So that interest is a financial cost which we have to pay to our debenture holders. And after deducting the interest to the debenture holders, we will get the EBT, that is earning before tax. Okay, this is a simple statement which we will be requiring for understanding the types of leverages. The next point under the concept of leverage is leverage occurs in varying degrees. See, leverage occurs in different degrees. There may be difference in the proportion of leverage, and because of the change in the proportion of the leverage in a firm, there is a change in the profit of the organization. Okay, the higher the degree of leverage, the higher is the risk involved. If there is a high degree of leverage, then there will be a high degree of risk involved in meeting the fixed payment obligations, that is operating fixed cost and cost of debt capital. If we have a high degree of the leverage in our organization, that means if we are raising funds with the help of debt capital, not equity, as we are increasing the proportion of debt capital in our capital structure, okay, as we are increasing the debt proportion in our capital structure, the risk increases because we have to pay interest to the debenture holders, interest to the bank for the loan taken. Okay, so the obligation, that is fixed payment of interest obligation, increases, and as the fixed payment of interest obligation increases, the risk also increases. Therefore, it is called as the higher degree of the leverage, the higher is the risk involved. But at the same time, higher risk profile increases the possibility of higher rate of return to the shareholders. But as there is a high risk, okay, as there is a possibility of as there is a higher risk, there will be more chances or the possibility of getting higher returns too. And if the firm is getting higher returns or getting more profit, then it is of the shareholders. So directly or indirectly, shareholders are more profitable if there is a high degree of leverage. So this is the basic concept of leverage, what exactly leverage means. The next point is definitions. We will see some definitions to get the clear idea or the picture of the leverage term. Okay, just look at the screen. First definition is given by Van Home. According to J.C. Van Home, leverage is the employment of an asset or the funds for which the firm pays a fixed cost of the fixed return. Uh, J.C. Van Home says that leverage means what? It is the employment of fixed cost or the funds to invest in a fund, to invest in fixed assets so that we can get more returns. As we are investing in fixed funds, as we are investing in fixed cost, as we are investing in fixed assets, by raising the funds with the help of debt capital, we will be paying more interest to the debenture holders. Okay, and as we are taking more risk, we will be getting more returns. So leverage means what? Leverage is the employment of an asset. Leverage means we are investing in the assets, in those assets for which we have to pay fixed cost. We have to give a fixed rate of interest to the debenture holders, irrespective of the profit earned by the organization. The organization is earning profit or not, the firm has to pay interest to its debenture holders. That is leverage. In simple words, we can say leverage means increasing the debt proportion in a capital structure. In short, the next definition given by S.C. Kushal, the term leverage is used to describe a firm's ability to use fixed cost bearing assets or funds to magnify the returns to its owners. The next definition says that leverage means what? We are increasing the debt proportion in our organization. Why we are increasing the debt proportion in our organization's capital structure? Just to increase the returns for the shareholders. Owners means what? Shareholders of the organization. Okay, so we are investing, we are paying for the fixed cost, we are paying interest to the debenture holders. Why? To earn the returns, to generate the profits for the shareholders. The next definition given by J.E. Walter, leverage may be defined as percentage return on equity and the net rate of return to the total on the total capitalization. Leverage means what? The percentage return on equity. We are increasing the debt proportion so that the equity shareholders get more and more profit. Okay, that means we are increasing the net return on the total capitalization. We are raising funds with the help of debentures so that we can increase the profits for the organization. That is leverage. But with the in the video we have already seen that though the leverage is considered as profitable, but we have to manage that leverage in such a way that it should be profitable, because leverage may give rise to losses also. Okay, so the proportion of leverage must be in such a way that after paying interest to the debenture holders, after paying for the fixed cost, we must be in profit. The proportion of the capital structure, that is debt proportion, must be in such a way that interest cost must not be more than the EBIT. Okay, EBIT should be more than the interest cost. Then we will be in a profit. The next is, there are two main types of leverages. First one is financial leverage, second one is operating leverage. We will see one by one. To increase the financial leverage, a firm may borrow capital through issuing fixed income securities or buying or by borrowing money directly from a lender. If we want to increase the financial leverage, okay, then the firm has to issue the fixed income securities. The firm should raise the funds with the help of fixed income securities or it can be by with the help of borrowing money directly from the lenders. This is one way through which the financial leverage can be increased. Okay. On the other hand, operating leverage can also be used to magnify cash flows, returns, and can be attained through increasing revenues or profits margin. On the other hand, operating leverage can be increased by increasing the revenues of the organization, by increasing the sales of the organization, by generating more returns for the organization. Both methods are accompanied by risk such as insolvency, but can be very beneficial to a business also. It is a risky also, but it can be beneficial for the organization also. Okay. Leverage basically is categorized into two: financial leverage, and second one is operating leverage. We will see one by one. First, we will see operating leverage. What is operating leverage? Operating leverage refers to the use of fixed operating cost such as depreciation, insurance of assets, repairs, maintenance, property taxes, and so on in the operations of the firm. But it does not include the interest on the debt capital. Operating leverage just include the fixed operating cost. The given such as depreciation cost is a fixed cost, insurance of asset is a fixed cost, repairs, maintenance is a fixed cost. So these are the fixed cost, but it does not include the interest. Okay. Higher the proportion of fixed operating cost as compared to variable cost, higher its operating leverage, and vice versa. If there is a higher fixed cost as compared to the variable cost, we have already seen the two types of cost. First one is variable cost, and second one is fixed cost. Okay. So if there is a high variable cost, then operating leverage will be less. But if there is a high fixed cost, then operating leverage will be high. Therefore, it is said that higher the proportion of fixed operating cost as compared to the variable cost is less, but the fixed cost is more, then there will be a higher in the operating leverage, and vice versa. Operating leverage may be defined as the firm's ability to use fixed operating cost to magnify effects of changes in sales on its earnings before interest and tax. See, we have seen the income statement: sales minus variable cost, contribution minus fixed cost will be EBIT. So we have to calculate the operating leverage. Okay. And operating leverage means what? The changes due to fixed cost, the changes in the returns due to fixed cost, that is operating leverage. So it is defined as the firm's ability to use fixed operating cost to magnify the effects of changes in sales. What are the changes in the sales because of operating cost, that is because of fixed cost, or we can say fixed operating cost. And it does not include the interest and the tax. Okay, because interest and tax comes under the financial expenses. These are not the operating fixed costs. Operating fixed cost includes the depreciation, maintenance, repairs, insurance. Okay. It does not include the interest and the tax. Interest and tax comes under the financial expenses or financial cost. In practice, a firm will have three types of the cost. First one is variable cost, we have already seen. Second one is fixed cost, and third one is semi-variable cost. Now, what is variable cost? Cost tends to vary in direct proportion to the changes in the volume of equity. Okay. And fixed cost means what? Fixed cost which tends to remain fixed irrespective of the variation in the volume of activity within a relevant range and during a defined period of time. Fixed cost is fixed irrespective of the production. And third one is the semi-variable cost. In that, semi-fixed cost which are partly fixed and partly variable. It is the mixture or the combination of both, that is variable cost also and the fixed cost also. Okay. They can be segregated into variable and the fixed elements and included in the respective group of cost. Operating leverage means what? Operating leverage occurs when a firm incurs fixed costs which are to be recovered out of the sales revenue irrespective of the volume of the business in a period. In a firm having fixed costs in the total cost structure, a given change in the sales will result in a disproportionate change in the operating profit or the EBIT of the firm. In the capital structure of the firm, if we are changing the operating fixed cost, there will be a change in the profit of the firm. Higher the fixed cost, lesser will be the EBIT of the firm. Okay. If there is no fixed cost in the total cost structure, then the firm will not have a operating leverage. Operating leverage is completely related with the fixed cost. If there is no fixed cost in the firm or the organization, there will be no operating leverage. Okay. In that case, operating profit or the EBIT varies in direct proportion to the changes in the sales volume. Because what we are doing for calculating the EBIT, first we are calculating the contribution, that is sales minus variable cost. Okay. And after calculating the contribution, we are deducting fixed costs from the contribution. Then we get the EBIT, that is earning before interest and tax. And if there is no fixed cost, that means contribution will be considered as a EBIT because fixed cost is zero. Okay. Therefore, it is said that in that case, when the operating fixed cost is not there in a firm, okay, then what happens? In that case, the operating profit or the EBIT varies in direct proportion to the changes in the sales. As the sales increases, the EBIT increases. As the sales decreases, the EBIT decreases because there is no fixed cost. Next is operating leverage is associated with the operating risk or the business risk. The higher the fixed operating cost, the higher the firm's operating leverage will be and its operating risk will be. As there is a higher fixed cost, there will be a high operating leverage, and as there is a high operating leverage, there is a higher risk. Operating risk is the degree of uncertainty that the firm has faced in meeting its fixed operating cost where there is variability of EBIT. Now, it was the basic concept of operating leverage. After that, what is the degree of operating leverage? Uh, the earnings before interest and tax, that is EBIT, changes with the increase or decrease in the sales volume. Definitely. Operating leverage is used to measure the effects of variations in the changes in the sales volume on the level of EBIT. We are required to calculate the change in the proportion of sales on the level of EBIT. What is the effect of change in the sales on the EBIT? That is called as degree of operating leverage. A high degree of operating leverage is welcome when sales are rising. If sales are rising, then if the fixed cost is also increasing, then it will be profitable for the organization because sales are also rising. But on the other hand, if sales are not rising, sales are not increasing, only fixed cost is getting increasing, is raising, then it will be not favorable for the organization. Therefore, it is said that a high degree of operating leverage is welcome when sales are rising, that is favorable market conditions, and it is undesirable when the sales are falling. But if the sales are falling, then it is undesirable to increase the operating leverage or to have a high degree of operating leverage, because high degree of operating leverage means a relatively high operating fixed cost for recovering which a larger volume of sales is required. If there is a more fixed cost, so to recover that fixed cost, there must be high sales, there must be more and more sales. But if sales are falling, okay, if the turnover is falling and the fixed cost is increasing, that will not be a favorable situation for a firm because the firm will not be able to recover its fixed cost because sales are falling. Okay. So the degree of the operating leverage will be higher, is preferable or favorable for the organization when sales are raising, and vice versa. The degree of operating leverage is also obtained by using the following formula. We can calculate the degree of operating leverage with the help of this formula, that is percentage change in EBIT upon percentage change in units sold. The value of degree of operating leverage must be greater than 1. If the value is equal to 1, then there is no operating leverage. Okay, so this was the concept of operating leverage and the degree of operating leverage. After that, what is the importance of operating leverage? So on the screen some points are given of the importance of operating leverage. Just look at the screen. First point is, operating leverage gives an idea about the impact of changes in the sales on the operating income of the firm. With the help of operating leverage, we can estimate what is the effect of changes in the sales on the profit of the organization. That is on the EBIT, earning before interest and tax. Second importance is, operating leverage will help. Higher the degree of operating leverage magnifies the effect on EBIT for a small change in the sales volume. What will be the effect of higher degree of operating leverage if there is no change in the sales or if there is a small change in the sales? With the help of the operating leverage, we can estimate this also. The next importance is, high degree of operating leverage indicate increase in operating profit or EBIT. If there is a high degree of operating leverage, then there are chances that the operating profit, that is EBIT, will increase. Next is, high operating leverage results from the existence of a higher amount of fixed costs in the total cost structure of a firm, which makes the margin of safety low. So these are the importance. Again, some points are there. Next one is, high operating leverage indicates higher amount of sales required to reach the break-even point. Operating leverage will help us to know the BEP, to reach the BEP level also. Higher fixed operating cost in the total cost structure of a firm promotes higher operating leverage and its operating risk also. Next point is, a lower operating leverage gives enough cushion to the firm by providing a high margin of safety against the variations in the sales. If there is a lower operating leverage, okay, so it will be profitable for the firm if there is a no variation in the sales, or sales are not increasing, sales are falling, or sales are similar, okay, or constant, we can say. Proper analysis of operating leverage of a firm is useful to finance manager. Proper analysis of the operating leverage is very necessary. It will help the finance manager to take the financial decisions for the profitability of the organization, for achieving the goals or the objectives of the organization. Now, it was the first type of the leverage, that is operating leverage. The second type of leverage is the financial leverage. Okay, now what is financial leverage? Financial leverage is concerned with the uh, funds raising with the help of the debt proportion. That means if we are raising the funds with the help of the debentures instead of equity shareholders, that means we have to pay the interest to the debenture holders. We have to pay fixed rate of interest to the debenture holders. That fixed rate of interest is considered as financial cost, and the financial leverage is related to financial cost only. If there is high financial cost, that means there is a high cost of interest paid to the debenture holders, or the debt proportion is increasing, we can say. Financial leverage. Financial leverage is primarily concerned with the financial activities which involve raising of funds from the sources for which a firm has to bear fixed charges such as interest expenses or the loan fees, etc. As I have already told you, that financial leverage is concerned with the financial cost, and financial cost means what? If we are raising the funds with the help of debentures and we have to pay interest to those debenture holders, that interest is considered as financial cost, which is directly related with the financial leverage. These sources include long-term debt, that is debentures, bonds, and the loans from the bank, and preference share capital also. Long-term debt capital carries a contractual fixed rate of interest and its payment is obligatory irrespective of the fact whether the firm earns a profit or not. See, long-term debt are the debt to which we have to pay fixed rate of interest. We have to pay fixed cost on those debt. Okay, whether the firm is earning profit or not, that doesn't matters. We have to pay interest to the debenture holders, we have to pay interest to the bank, we have to pay interest on the bonds. That is financial cost. As debt provider have prior claim on income and assets of the firm over the equity shareholders, their rate of interest is generally lower than the expected rate of return in equity shareholders. See, debenture holders have the first right in getting returns, that is interest. We have to pay first interest to the debenture holders. That means we have to deduct interest from the EBIT, that is earning before interest and tax. Okay. After deducting the interest, after paying interest to the debenture holders, there will be EBT, that is earning before tax. After that, we have to pay for tax. After deducting the tax, the profit will be available for the equity shareholders. So, as the debenture holders have the first right in getting the interest, okay, as compared to the uh, preferential equity shareholders, therefore, the rate of interest which is paid to the debenture holder is comparatively less as compared to the returns for the equity shareholders. Further, interest on debt capital is tax deductible expense. Next point is these two facts leads to the magnification of the rate of return on the equity share capital and hence earning per share. Thus, the effects of changes in the operating profit or the EBIT on the earning per share is shown by the financial leverage. According to Gitman, financial leverage is the ability of a firm to use fixed financial charges to magnify the effects of changes in EBIT on the firm's earning per share. In other words, financial leverage involves the use of funds obtained at a fixed cost in the hope of increasing the return to the equity shareholders. If we want to increase the returns for the equity shareholders, for that we are obtaining or we are using the funds in the fixed cost so that we can increase or we can generate more and more returns for the equity shareholders. Favorable or positive financial leverage occurs when a firm earns more on the assets or the investment purchased with the funds than the fixed cost of their use. Unfavorable or the negative leverage occurs when the firm does not earn as much as the funds cost. It will be favorable if the firm is able to get returns after recovering the financial cost also, then it will be favorable. But if the financial cost is more, the firm is not able to recover that financial cost, then it will not be favorable for the organization. Our returns will be more than the funds cost. Whatever we are paying, we must be able to recover those costs. That means interest on the debentures. Thus, the shareholders gain where the firm earns a higher rate of returns and pays a lower rate of return to the suppliers of the long term fund. That means if we are getting more returns and we are paying less to the debenture holders in the form of interest, it will be favorable for the organization. The difference between the earnings from the assets and the fixed cost on the use of the funds goes to the equity shareholders. And the difference between the profit which we have earned and the interest which we have paid to the debenture holders is directly goes in the hands of the equity shareholders. Financial leverage is also therefore called as trading on equity. Financial leverage is associated with the financial risk. Financial risk refers to the risk of the firm not being able to cover its fixed cost due to variation in EBIT. With the increase in the financial charges, the firm is also required to raise the level of EBIT necessary to meet the financial charges. If the firm cannot cover these financial payments, it can be technically forced into liquidation. If the organization is not able to cover the financial payments, then the firm has to go into the liquidation. The next point is degree of financial leverage. As we have seen the degree of operating leverage, and the second time is financial leverage. So we will see what is degree of financial leverage. Financial leverage is a measure of changes in the operating profit or the EBIT on the level of earning per share. It can be computed with the help of the formula. Financial leverage is equals to percentage change in EPS upon percentage change in EBIT. Okay. The financial leverage at any level of EBIT is called its degree. It is computed as ratio of EBIT to the profit before tax, that is EBT. Degree of financial leverage can be calculated with the help of the formula, that is EBIT, earning before interest and tax, divided by earning before tax, that is EBT. The value of the degree of financial leverage must be greater than 1. It must be greater than 1. It will be favorable for the organization if it is greater than 1. If the value of the degree of the financial leverage is 1, then there will be no financial leverage. But if it is equals to 1, then there will be no financial leverage. The higher the proportion of debt capital to the total capital employed by the firm, or the total capital structure of the firm, the higher is the degree of financial leverage, and vice versa. Again, the higher degree of financial leverage, the greater is the financial risk associated with it, and vice versa. Under favorable market conditions, when EBIT may increase, a firm having high degree of financial leverage will be a better position to increase the returns on the equity or the earnings per share. Now, what is the importance of financial leverage? First point is, it helps the financial manager to design an optimum capital structure. With the help of financial leverage, we can design an optimum capital structure. The optimum capital structure implies that the combination of the debt and the equity at which overall cost of the capital is lower or the minimum, and the value of the firm is maximum. The next point of importance is, it increases earning per share, that is EPS, as well as financial risk. The third importance is, a high financial leverage indicates existence of the high financial fixed cost and high financial risk also. And the next point is, it helps to bring balance between the financial risk and the return in the capital structure. Financial leverage helps in making balance, in creating a balance between the financial risk and the returns in the capital structure. So it was all about the importance of financial leverage. Again, next point is, it shows the excess on return on the investment over the fixed cost on the use of the funds. And the last point is, it is important tool in the hands of the finance manager while determining the amount of debt in the capital structure of the firm. So these all were the importance of degree of financial leverage. Okay, so this was all about the basic concept of leverage, what exactly leverage means, what is leverage in financial management, what are the types of financial management. Okay, thank you.